All right, so I think this PowerPoint is loading soon. Be patient with us. We should be on shortly. Okay, looks like we're on. So I think we're all set. Hello and Happy New Year's to everyone. As some of you may already know, I'm Quentin Lampkin. People call me Q, which is fine. Let me give a huge shout out to all the scholars and parents, educators, and all you amazing folks who have either registered or joined today's Scholar Navigator's very first web class. And this is so very exciting, and we're talking today about strategies and need to know information on how to get the money you need to pay for your college education. Because one mistake I see students and families making is thinking that once they have submitted their college application, that they should just take a break or sort of wait around and and before they pursue their financial aid applications. But that is not the way to approach it, because applying for financial aid is its own process, right? So separate from applying for college. So just because you submitted your application to your dream colleges, that is not enough. Again, applying for financial aid has its own forms and its own deadlines. And I can see that we have folks on today's web class or who have registered for today's web class from DC, Maryland, Georgia, my home state, California, Texas, New York, Ohio, and even Alaska. So I'm in New York City, which is the city that never sleeps. So you may hear some background noise, but whatever, it's fine. Before the end of 2017, I want us all to help out to ensure that students and families from all 50 states are part of our web classes. So if this class or any future classes are beneficial to you, we want you to get the word out to other high school students, again, parents, mentors, educators, and adults looking to go to college. So let's actually get into what we're going to be talking about today. I have an agenda for you all. I want to sort of walk you through the agenda. We're going to start off with a big picture overview of the financial aid process. And then I want to spend some time and just talk about the different ways for you to be able to finance and pay for college. And then we want to wrap up and talk about some resources and some tools that I have found to be helpful, that students and families that I've worked with have found to be helpful in terms of discovering and locating money to pay for college. Again, this is an intro class, so we will not be long, and I will be referencing some upcoming webinars for you to attend for free, where we'll be talking in greater detail about specific financial aid topics. Again, this is just an overview. So I know some of you are wondering, who is this guy leading today's web class? Well, that's me. I'm the guy that you see in the photo for those of you who are watching from your laptops or smartphones. And then for those of you who are dialing in, again, I'm Quentin. And let me give you some details on, just who I am and where I come from and why getting students to and through college is my #1 passion. So here I am, a kid who grew up in a small town in Georgia called McRae, Georgia, born and raised, public housing, public assistance, and the whole rose from a concrete story. One day, I think I might write a remix to the Drake song Started from the Bottom, because I started out with little to nothing and didn't think that despite how hard I had worked in high school that I could afford to go to my dream college. But my big moment came back in 2004 when I graduated from high school with a full scholarship from Bill and Melinda Gates to go to college. And ever since receiving that opportunity, I've been on a mission to help many more students with little to no money achieve their college dreams. And, even though I have had great moments of success over the past several years of interning and volunteering and working professionally for a number of national and local education organizations that are all about helping students prepare, plan, pay, and even graduate from college. I have 2 master's degrees in education, one from Columbia University's Teachers College right here in New York City, and a second master's from the University of Cambridge, located in the United Kingdom. I've interned at the White House for President Barack Obama's administration, and I'm now the founder and CEO of Scholar Navigator, which is hosting today's webinar. And we're an early stage education organization that is committed to helping students and families navigate the college and career journey. And even though I've had those great moments of success, there was a time when I faced lots of challenges on my journey to and through college. There were moments when I didn't quite fit in, moments of waiting in fear for weeks, wondering if I had won that scholarship that I had worked so hard on for months, and only to receive an email letting me know that unfortunately I wasn't the right candidate for the opportunity. Moments when I open up and share my hopes and dreams and aspirations to others about my future, and they laughed at me in my face. I've had moments of sitting in classes with professors and having them talk about, things that I was just absolutely not interested in, and wondering if I was really cut out for college. And even though I did not fully see it then, I now know that those moments and challenges were preparing me to understand what it takes to help many more students navigate to and through college, find their passion in life, and become the leaders our country so desperately needs. So let's dive in. And I want to just talk again about how to pay for college. Even if you, like I was growing up, don't have a lot of money, some of you may be helping your family pay the bills or see how hard your parents work just to put food on the table, and you don't want to be a burden by asking them to help you pay for college. And I hear you, because I know what that feels like. And I'm here to let you know that there's hope and lots of options for you to afford college and achieve your dreams of a college education. So let's get started talking about financial aid. And there may be some terms and concepts that will be new or somewhat unfamiliar to you, which is totally okay. Just want you to know that all phones have been muted so that we can avoid any distracting noises, because we know some of you are listening to this web class on your speaker phones while you're eating lunch, or have us in your earphones while you're heading to the YMCA or for Saturday sports practice. But if you have a question and you're watching this webinar with your laptops, I want you to feel free to use the Q&A tool, which is right down there at the bottom right-hand corner. And if you want me to just pause and clarify any particular point. And then for those of you who have dialed into this class, I want you to feel comfortable with going to our Facebook page, which is Scholar Navigator, to ask your questions, and we'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. And I don't want if we don't get to all the questions during today's webinar, then don't worry, I'm going to make sure to include all those questions and answers again to our Facebook page. So let's start off with a pop quiz. All right, pop quiz. And I want you to type in your answer again, the bottom right-hand corner, using the Q&A tool. Pop quiz. How much money do you think is available every year to help students like you and folks like me when I was getting ready for college, and also for the millions of students who are on their way to college every year? How much money do you think is available every year for those individuals? I want you to just take a guess. It's no right or wrong answer. Again, type in your answers, but I'm going to give you 5 seconds to do so. All right? Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, drum roll. So the answer is more than $185 billion in financial aid. And that's wonderful, right? But I'm sure that you care, and I also care, about the question of how much can you get? And then if we had to pick a second question, it would definitely be, what do you have to do to get it? So we're going to go step by step, right? And the first step that we want to keep in mind is to get the money that you need and deserve to pay for college is to complete the free application for federal student aid, which is also known as the FAFSA form. All right. Now, some students choose to fill out the paper version, but I recommend going online. All right. Just go online, www.fafsa.ed.gov, G-O-V, to complete this form. And it really shouldn't take anywhere between 21 to 55 minutes in total to complete. And once you have submitted your FAFSA form to the federal government, so the federal government then will share that information that you put in the FAFSA form with your state government and with the colleges, universities, or career schools that you plan to attend. That way the federal government, your state government, and the college, university, or career school, they're all on the same page about your financial circumstances when it comes to paying for your college education. But I really need you to pause here and listen really closely to what I'm about to say, because there's been two very big updates to the FAFSA form. All right. Number one, the FAFSA form is now available earlier. All right. So the date for you to start applying has now moved back to October 1st. So once upon a time, not long ago, it used to be the case that you had to wait until January the 1st of every year to start applying for FAFSA. Now, you can start applying on and after October 1st. And so this change was really put into place to give you and your family more time to just make decisions about which college is going to be the best financial choice for you after you've been offered admissions. So if you plan to attend college this summer or fall, so to all of my high school seniors in today's class, if you plan to attend college in the summer or the fall, you will now use your and or your parents' 2015 taxes when filling out your FAFSA form. Okay, so that's the second update. Again, seniors who plan to enroll in school any time between July 1st of this year and June 18th of next year, you will use 2015 tax information. And I just want you all to keep in mind that you want to apply for the FAFSA form as soon as possible. And what do I mean by as soon as possible? All right. So many colleges have what they call priority dates in February. So you want to get that FAFSA application, and of course any other colleges, any other college financial specific applications that they're requesting, you want to get that in as well. But right now we're just talking about the FAFSA. But you want to get that FAFSA application submitted as soon as possible. Again, many colleges have priority dates instead of a firm deadline for applying for financial aid. So what do I mean by a priority date? Well, so that is the date that the college is saying they need to receive your application in order to give you the best possible consideration for funding. And anytime after that priority date, then they're going to really just give you the leftovers. And my philosophy is, why settle for the leftovers when you can be at the front of the line for that delicious financial aid buffet? So let me pause here and answer a question that I hear often when I speak to students and when students reach out to me. And that is, if my parents make too much money, will I still qualify for financial help for college? So my answer has never changed, which is you should still apply for financial aid. Okay, you still need to submit your FAFSA form. There's no exception. Okay, again, there may be money available to you despite how much money your family makes, but those funds will only be available to you if you submit your FAFSA form. And besides, here's what is one of the most important things to keep in mind. Thousands of students who would have qualified for need-based aid, such as there's a need-based aid example that I want to give you, which is the Pell Grant, which is currently worth up to $5,800 for the 2016-2017 academic year, by the way. you know, Folks who don't submit that FAFSA form do not receive it, right? Because, they didn't complete their form. And this is why making sure that you submit your FAFSA is going to put you in the best possible position to get the financial help that you need and deserve to be able to go to college, okay? So let's continue on. All right, so after you have filed your FAFSA form, the government is going to determine your need. All right. So if you are like I was growing up and don't have any money, then you will be considered to have a high need for financial aid. But if you were like some of my friends whose parents owned successful businesses, and I'm not going to name any names, but their bank account was balling, and when we talked about how they paid for college, they let me know that they initially believed that their parents made too much money to pay for college until, they filed and completed their FAFSA. And then they realized that because they had other siblings, brothers and sisters in college, that they actually had a need for financial help for college. But again, you will not know until you complete and submit the FAFSA form. All right, so once you have submitted your FAFSA form, the government is going to calculate all the information that you have provided to come up with something called the estimated family contribution, or EFC, which is really a number that explains how much money your family or you personally, depending on your situation, are able to pay toward the cost of your college education. And I want to be really, really super clear here that the EFC number is not saying that you or your family would need to write a check or send a money order in to pay for your college education. It is simply saying that based on you or your family's financial circumstances, this is how much you have the ability to pay. All right, so there will be concepts that I'm talking about that will just need to take some more details for me to go into. And so in order to do so, specifically in regards to the FAFSA, the EFC, and so forth, I want you all to tune in to our next web class, which is happening in 2 weeks on January the 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to learn more about this EFC number and how it's calculated, to learn more about the FAFSA and what it means, and how you can feel confident when you submit your FAFSA. So we're going to be talking about all those details in that web class in 2 weeks. Okay, so let me give you some advice to all of our friends who are undocumented students. So I know that a number of organizations and individuals are still working diligently to change the laws to allow you to be able to submit a FAFSA form for federal financial aid. However, I just want you to just keep in mind that you may be eligible for state aid, but that really does depend on the state that you live in. But until those laws are changed for every state and at the federal level, I want to encourage you to not lose hope. All right? I don't want you to lose hope. I want you to consider applying for scholarships, which is how many undocumented students afford to pay for college. So I want you to Google and research more about scholarships for undocumented students by going to this website that I'm about to give you, which is www.thedream.us. Again, www.thedream.us. And this is a super helpful resource for you to look into. And we're going to be talking more about scholarships in a few minutes, but I want to go back to the FAFSA. So now that you've gotten your FAFSA filed and submitted, step 2 is you're going to, the FAFSA's in, and the federal government has it. So they're going to send that information to your dream colleges or your career school, and then you're going to receive something in the mail called a financial aid award package, and you're going to receive this award package usually along with your acceptance letter. All right, so this is a big moment of celebration, celebration, celebration. And after you finish celebrating, which I'm sure you should really take your time and celebrate that you've gotten to your dream college, but when you've done finish that celebration, I want you to ask yourself, how much money did I get? All right. And when you open up your financial aid award package, it's going to have some important numbers that I really want you to pay close attention to. All right. So, number one, your award package may include something called grants. All right. And all I need you to know when you see the word grant in your package is that this is free money that you do not have to pay back. Again, it's free money that the federal government, your state government, or even your college, university, or career school has determined that they are going to give to you to help you pay for your college education. Second, you may see something in your financial aid award package that says work study. All right. And if you see work study, just know that you have the possibility of receiving a guaranteed job on or near campus. All right. So, for example, if your work study is, let's just say, $2,000, then you have the opportunity to receive a guaranteed job on campus or near campus that will allow you to work reasonable hours, right? Because they may know, hey, you have an exam coming up, so they're going to allow you to work reasonable hours to eventually earn that $2,000 to pay toward your college education. And then third, you may see that you've received scholarships, which again, very similar to grants, free money. You don't have to pay it back. And again, we're going to be talking more about how to get scholarships for college on our web class taking place on Saturday, February the 11th. Again, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And during that class, we're going to really take our time to go over some things that I have observed with working with students to apply to scholarships, what my process was like when I went through the scholarship application process. But one thing that has stood out to me, both my own personal experiences, but also when working with students and families, is that sometimes when students hear the word scholarships, they panic. They panic thinking that scholarships, that's really only for perfect students or the students with the best grades or SAT scores. Well, listen, that is simply not true. All right, I want all of you to continue, of course, working hard and studying to maintain top grades and your best performance on your standardized test scores to receive those merit-based scholarships. But I also want you all to keep in mind that there are other scholarships for students who are leaders in their families, their communities, their schools. Listen, there are scholarships for students who have great artistic talents, students who are young entrepreneurs, students who will be first in their families to go to college. Even students who are interested in becoming scientists or who want to own a restaurant one day or become an airplane pilot or a journalist, you name it, there is most likely a scholarship for you. And we're going to be talking more about that during our web class on February the 11th. We were talking about, a number of things that we're going to go over, a ton of resources and online tools and search engines that you could use, that I use, that I found to be useful in my process to find hundreds and hundreds of local, state, or even national scholarships that would be good for you. Now, here's one thing I gotta say. I gotta say this because I don't want you to dare think just because you can win, thousands of dollars like I did or like a few of my mentees have done, that you don't need to worry about applying and submitting your FAFSA form. Okay? No, 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 in the words of Desmond Shaw. Because I want you to keep in mind that over 90% of funding comes from FAFSA. from your state aid applications and so forth, and only 10% comes from scholarships. So you want to tap into that larger bowl of funding, which is the FAFSA, okay? And finally, let me wrap up. We're talking briefly about student loans because you will most likely see this in your financial aid award package. And I only need to talk about this because this is while millions of students receive need-based grants, work study, and scholarships to pay for their college education, some students will have to fund some of their college expenses by taking out federal or private student loans. And I want all of you to keep in mind that the majority of students in this country take out student loans to go to college. And I wish I had known that when I was an undergrad because, I always felt that I was the only one who couldn't afford to pay for college, you know, without financial help. But what I would say to my younger self is, there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing, to sort of not feel, proud about the fact that you are not the only one. In fact, almost 70% of students end up borrowing money throughout their time in college. And really, again, that's the majority of students. So, when you are on campus feeling like you're the only one who are attending college with financial help, then I don't want you to feel, any way about that. It's totally fine because you're not alone, as I said earlier. Okay? And I know the thought of borrowing for college can feel scary, and this is a decision that I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to discuss with your family, with your guidance counselors and other adults who you trust, so they can help guide you through making a decision that is going to be the best for you. But I do want you to keep in mind that should you make a choice to borrow for college, know that this is an investment in your future. And while you're going to have to pay that money back with interest, after you've graduated from college, my advice to you is, should you decide to borrow for college, you want to go for the federal subsidized loans because you can take advantage of some really great protections, some flexibility, some benefits that you may not receive if you take out a private loan. And we're going to be talking more about that during our web class called Responsible Student Loan Borrowing, which is happening on February the 25th at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so that is it for today's web class. So some quick resources that I want to share with you and want you to keep in mind. If you have any immediate questions that I didn't answer, or if you need some extra support, I want you to be sure to reach out to your high school guidance counselor or call or email your dream college's financial aid office, or even go online and Google finaid.aid.org, again, finaid.org, or studentaid.ed.gov. I'm going to spell that. It's a long word for those of you who are on the phone. studentaid dot ed.gov. And these are great resources for understanding how to pay for college. That is it, but I want to give you some quick homework assignment and answer a few questions. I'm going to take literally 3 to 5 minutes, and we're going to be done with today's call, okay? Today's webinar. So your homework assignment is this. First, I want you all to make sure to register for our next web class, which is happening on January the 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be talking about how to complete the FAFSA form with confidence. And you can register by going to www.scholarnavigator.org. You can also check out any other financial aid webinars that we will be hosting that you might find interesting. Secondly, I want you to at least take a look at the FAFSA website, and if you feel inclined, I want you to start working on it. Do as much as you can. Again, most colleges require the FAFSA, and I want to help you get that application in as soon as possible. And then third, I want you to submit your questions to us on our Facebook page about today's webinar. Also, make sure you go on our Facebook page to introduce yourself. We are a supportive community, so let's get to know one another. Alrighty, so I have time for two questions. I'm going to check here to see if we have any questions from any of the students or families on the call. Again, if you have any, please use that Q&A tool at the bottom to let us know. If not, I am going to answer a question that is a frequently asked question that I get from students and families. All right, let's see here. All right, so there's no questions. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to answer this question. Can I just apply for financial assistance from my state government and not complete a FAFSA? And the answer is no way. Again, you are required to complete the FAFSA in order to be even considered for state funds. It is a requirement. Fill that FAFSA out. All right. The next question here is, if I'm on probation or parole, can I get financial student aid? And the answer there is yes. If you are on parole, probation, or even if you're living in a halfway house, you may still be eligible for federal student aid. And this is something that I want you all to keep in mind, all right, when you're completing the FAFSA. You're going to be asked whether you had a drug conviction for an offense that occurred while you were receiving federal student aid. And if you answer yes, they're going to give you a worksheet, and that worksheet is really there to help you determine whether your conviction affects your eligibility for federal student aid. And if your eligibility for federal student aid has been suspended because of a drug conviction, you have an opportunity to regain your eligibility early, but you can only do so by going through and completing an approved drug rehabilitation program or passing two unannounced drug tests that will be given to you by an approved drug rehabilitation program. Okay, so that is all for now, folks. I want you to have a wonderful afternoon. We will talk again soon, and take care.